Hey, this is Hank with Rattlesnake Cables, and I'm here to talk about looms. Now, a lot of people are going, what's the point of a loom? Like, why do I need one? Why should I want one? Really, it's all about speed on setting up and tearing down. So depending on what kind of stages you play, you might be playing on a bill with 3-4 bands. A lot of times you want to get on that stage quick and get off the stage quick. And when you have a 3 cable or maybe even a 4 or 5 cable setup, that's a lot of unplugging, a lot of wrapping individual cables, put them away. With a loom, it's all in one cable. So you quickly unplug 3 cables and you just wrap the one loom like this, and you got all 3 of your cables off the stage. Much faster, much cleaner. You don't risk the issues too of like, oh, I left this cable at home and these 2 I brought. As long as you bring your loom setup, you are ready to go. Classic setups for looms is a 3 cable amp setup where you have an amp input, send return on an effects loop to a pedal board. Very classic. Depending on what it is, it could be different things, multiple amps. It could be a different stage with like XLR setups, with a XLR rack. It could be studio. Studio stuff might not be about fast teardown and setup, but it could just be tidying the cables. So you don't have cables everywhere. You have a nice little thing that you can tuck away, easily put behind a drum kit, and you don't have to worry about a mess of cables that are always going to be there. And when we talk about looms, we have to really think about what we're trying to achieve here. Again, when I said the 3 cable loom, that's a send and return on an effects loop and an amp input. And this is an example of this loom right here. We have a nice snake weave loom in this short end of this Breakout, which is something important to understand when you're purchasing looms from us, that we want to know about breakout points. And breakout points are the points where the cable is exposed outside the loom. We like to have a 12-inch minimum breakout. This is a little, looks like 2 feet. And this would be great from a pedal board standpoint. And then on the opposite side, we'll have a longer breakout. This is 4 feet to the amp. And why we like to have this longer breakout is depending on the loom width and how many cables are in it, it can cause some strain on the jacks and the plugs if the loom is elevated and that strain is pulling on the jacks. So by having this kind of a breakout setup, we can leave that breakout on the ground and easily go through, like this is an amp input here, and now we got send and return, the back of this amp. Now this would just be like if we had just loose cables, if they were just separated, but now we have this loom breakout here. Now we can run this clean line. If you have excess, let's say you're playing on you might have got a 30-foot loom, but you're playing on a stage is, 5 feet. All you have to do is just get this excess behind here. And now you have a nice clean run to the pedal board, 1 cable. IECs can go in there, TRSs, channel switchers, all sorts of MIDI cables, all sorts of cables can be inside this loom. And it all depends on what your need is for that particular amp setup. We also like, if it's possible, we understand that a fanning of a pedal board outputs and inputs can impact the breakout points. Now, if all of your jacks are on like a patch bay on the side of a pedal board, this works great. But let's just say you had an amp output here, but your send and return are different pedals. You might have to have longer fan of the breakout or even different lengths. You might have this one be 24 inches to here, but these are 36 to get to the send and return. Or you figure out how to get a little patch bay or a junction box so you have it all on one side, which is nice as well. When you're dealing with multi-cable looms, it's about identification also. So in this example here, we have our leatherette badges that are riveted that identify what's what. And there's all sorts of different ways of identifying what cable is what from different color shrink tube. You could do tape on there. It could be different kinds of plugs. It could even be different PVC cables. So this could be a white PVC cable and a red PVC cable and a black PVC cable. All depends on your eyesight and how dark stages work for you and how quickly you can set up and tear down. That is the point of a loom and why people really like to have that, including many pro bands have looms when they're the guitar techs are setting up. They don't want to mess with all these different runs. They just want to take one cable, plug in those pieces, and they're good to go. So if you're interested in a loom for yourself, we are here to help. So we can do all sorts of different configurations for you. We've seen all sorts of different requests. And if there's anything weird about that request or if anything you're unsure about, that's what we're here for. You can just send us an email or shoot us a phone call and we can kind of work out the details. And there's always so many details to consider when you're putting that loom together. And all you have to do is head on over to rattlesnakecables.com, go to our products cables page, and you scroll down, there's a loom page, which we'll include in the description below. There, I'll itemize the things that we're looking for as far as like plug configuration, breakout points, loom color, length, all that stuff. And there'll be a little video in there actually go through some of these things again, a little bit more concise, so we can make sure that you get all your information to us when you're ready.